Hi everybody, welcome back. It's Shalise with Sockbuster Living, and this video is going to be how I started reading aloud to my children. It was not as easy as you think, or naturally as you might expect. I'm sure if you go on Google, it's just gonna blow your mind, or blow your feed, or blow your screen, or whatever it is that's going to get blown up. Just Google search, why you need to read out loud to your children. Just Google that. You're going to get a ton of articles from various sources on the reasoning behind why you should read aloud. Mine is more simple and less complex, I think, than all of those reasons. It was simply that I just wanted to be that good mom that read aloud to her kids, regardless of the millions of ideas and reasonings behind why you should do it. And I enjoyed reading, and I wasn't getting all the classics in that I had wanted to read forever, and of course trying to teach my children all the just trying to show them the world out there, that you can find yourself in a book. A good book, you are walking alongside that character. Even a little bit of you is a part of that character. And those are the best books to read. But getting started with reading out loud wasn't as simple as just sitting down and reading aloud. So, we started out with Charlotte's Web. It had animals in it, and I really think that books that deal with animals seem to feel like animals just really open up the world of reading with children. So we did Charlotte's Web. And the first day we sat down with Charlotte's Web, it was a totally picturesque scenario. It kind of went along the lines of this. Alright guys, mommy's going to read. I want everybody to sit down. We're gonna read Charlotte's Web, and everybody just needs to sit down, and mommy's just gonna read, a chapter. Oh, no, sit on the couch. No, stop. Don't sit on your brother. You don't need that spot. You can sit over here. Okay, why don't you come sit on my lap? Come on. Okay, we got you on the lap, you three are on the couch. Okay, mom's gonna read. Okay, go get a drink. Yeah, go to the bathroom. Okay, everybody's gotten a drink, everybody's gone to the bathroom. We're gonna read a chapter. Where's Papa going with that axe? Said Fern to her mother as they were setting the table for breakfast. What? No, look, I'm gonna read, you just listen. It's not gonna take long. Where was I? Out to the hog house, replied Mrs. Arabelle. Some pigs were born last. Yes? Guys, let me get through the first page, okay? Well, said her mother, one of the pigs is a runt. It's very small and weak, and it will never amount to anything. So your father has decided to do away with it. Do away with it? Yeah, he's gonna go kill it, yes. Can you just wait? It'll be described here. Just hold on. We did get through the first page. And that's all we got through. I got through the first page because there was a picture on the other side. And I kind of used that to say, hey, look, wait till we get to the picture part. This took us, I think, 2 months to read. And definitely, the more I got into it, the more I was consistent with it, the easier it was. However, I have to say, I was not consistent with it. I started that first day and of course got discouraged, and I don't think I picked it up until like 3 or 4 days later when I remembered, oh yeah, I was trying to do this thing. So then I would pick it up again, and then I would read another couple pages, and so on and so forth. So it took us 2 months to finish Charlotte's Web, and of course everybody loved it. The next book we did was Mr. Popper's Penguins. I had never read Mr. Popper's Penguins before, and I was not sure what I was getting into. So I went from something I did know and read as a child something I didn't know but was on all of the reading lists that you can find out there. It was a cute story, and I have to say, if I'm totally honest, I think it is one that is going to grow on you. So we read it as a family, and I'm sure in another couple of years, 3 or 4 years, I will be reading it again because we'll have another generation of young children that will be able to understand more. I'll probably enjoy it then too. But as of right now, I was like, oh, there's a lot better books out there than this one. But this is the second one we read. So we did Charlotte's Web, then Mr. Popper's Penguins. The third one was a little bit thicker. We did the Green Ember. And they loved this book. It was always about Heather and Pickett. I never got them to understand that this is the title of the book, and by them I mean the younger ones. The older ones understood, but they always referred to the story by the characters, Heather and Pickett. This one was a little bit more hard for my son to sit through. He was just turning 8 at the time, and it did help the fact that Pickett wasn't this perfect little angel, and I think he kind of related to that. But as you can see, sometimes we would only read a couple pages, and sometimes they asked me for one more chapter, and one more chapter, and one more chapter. Back to that heating thing again. The only thing I can say about this book as a review is the fact that it has a lot of he said and she said, and it can get kind of old. So I would kind of change the words up some. But again, this was very thick. It did take us a little bit longer, and I think as we were getting towards the end, the kids were ready for something new. A new story. So this time I chose something a little bit thinner. And this is In Grandma's Attic. This one, In Grandma's Attic, was actually a childhood favorite. The main story that I remember from this book is the hoop skirts story. And so I was like, oh guys, wait till I get to this one. And of course, when you have that kind of enthusiasm over a book, it does spill over to your children. So if you have a book from your childhood that you absolutely love and cherish and can remember, then that is something to go with. Maybe it's a Babysitter's Club or Goosebumps. I hope not, but to each his own. Each chapter is a story, and it's about a little girl asking her grandmother different things, or her grandma will remember certain things, and it's kind of, I like it just from the standpoint of, especially rereading it, sometimes things aren't as cut and dried as we would like to seem, especially with the children. And how parents, you know, as a parent now, I'm seeing this in a different light. But as a child, you see a perspective, and then as a parent, you see a perspective. And I think that's really good with books. If you can get something out of it from both angles, then you have a good book. This one is definitely was good for our family because each chapter is a couple pages long. It's got great illustrations, and of course, that's what my kids really want to see is the illustrations. Especially the 4 and 5-year-old. So this one is 4 pages. You can kind of see the print. So a chapter was 4 and a third. That long, and I read it during dinner. So everybody would sit down and eat dinner. I would read it, and then I would eat as I'm cleaning it. They love these. We have gone through 3 or 4 books at this point. I have a couple more in the series, but I don't have the ones in between because they are out of print, except for the first 4, I think. David C. Cook has reprinted them, and they're affordable, but some of the out of print ones are very expensive. But, so anyway, we really liked these, and after reading this and getting some short read alouds in, whereas we weren't sitting for a great length of time, I think very much helped our read alouds, and it got us back into the spirit. There were a few books in between these that we started, and I could tell right off the bat, you know, this isn't going to be a good fit for us. Five Little Peppers was a childhood favorite of mine, but there was no interest there. There was nothing there that made them ask for it again. You know, usually it was kind of the drudgery. Okay, I'm going to read. And I was like, okay. So at that point, I nixed the book. And the one I took out next was Castle in the Attic. We actually heard the audiobook of this first. And I didn't like the audiobook. The kids loved it. I didn't like it because I like one narrator. For a book, I just want one person reading it. And they can create their own voices throughout the book, but I don't like it where you have a narrator and then a kid's voice for a kid and an adult's voice for it. It's actually disconnected from me. I know it's supposed to connect better so you can see whose character is what, but it's actually disconnecting for me. So I read this out loud, and again, we got back into the love of read alouds. You know what? I don't think it was next, and I don't have it with me here. I know where it is, but I'm not going to go up and get it because then at that point this video is never going to get finished. But it was The Lizard Garden by Anne Phillips. And the kids loved that one. They loved, again, and I did a review on that, and that will be linked over here. I think it's over here. The iCard that swipes across, you can click that and you can go there. I will try to remember to link it down below, but I don't always remember that. I also don't remember the iCards either. So there's a review about it on my channel. We read that. Kids loved it. Funny story that, and it kind of ties in with this one right here. So let me come back to that and say that this was our next one. Again, we had started it last year and there was no interest. I gave it to my daughter to read and there really was no interest. I read it out loud and suddenly everybody fell in love. And even kind of funny things that my kids will go around saying some weird things, and it's from this book because they found it so funny. Definitely, I think Elizabeth Enright is more known for Thimble Summer and possibly Gone Away Lake. Gone Away Lake is kind of one of my childhood favorites, and this was another read aloud that we absolutely loved and enjoyed, and I recommend adding that to your read aloud library. And then going back to The Lizard Garden, when we ordered the second book that Anne Phillips wrote, it is now out, and I will leave that link down below if you enjoyed my review on The Lizard Garden. I think it's Verbinia something. I don't remember. Anyway, son sees it. He was like, oh, is that the Saturdays? No, that's The Lizard Garden. And then I pulled out book 2 and he's like, it's book 2! And he had to run and tell everybody that book 2 was out and that everybody's already waiting for it, right? That's how it goes. So we did the Saturdays and everybody loved it. And then I decided to start bringing in some of the older classics that, especially since with these books, I felt that even though my son very much enjoyed it, and when I'm saying my son, I have 3, I know. I'm talking about my oldest son. He is 8, going on 9, going on 14, going on 2. He did enjoy these. I think this is probably, along with The Lizard Garden, and I'm not just saying that to plug it, but I really think that between this and The Lizard Garden, those were probably some of his favorites. You know, I started out with the more animals and then kind of morphed into different things. So I thought I would kind of bring him in mind as I started doing our next read aloud, and I did Old Yeller. Disclaimer, I think is the word I'm looking for. There is a use of a word in here relating to a female dog. I'll let you figure that one out. Google can be your best friend. I've had to use that to look up some words sometimes. I live in a bubble. I kind of like my bubble sometimes. But we did, I did use the word in the context. But he really liked it. I think he really liked how Travis stood up to be a man. That kind of resonated with him. I'll leave that up to your discretion, but if you're going to read aloud and your eyes aren't ahead of your mouth, as mine always are, you need to be aware of that. Old Yeller, everybody loved this one. We did not want it to end, and they were constantly asking me to read another piece of it. So after Old Yeller, I picked up The Sign of the Beaver, because again, see how thick it is, and based on the content, and my kids are starting to recognize the seals, and of course they really like things that means that they won awards. You can kind of see where we are. My son did read Robinson Crusoe as a free read, as something he did on his own, and we used the Christian Liberty Press reader because it's condensed and it's anti-Charlotte Mason, but it's reader condensed and it's more child friendly. And he loves Robinson Crusoe. And so having Robinson Crusoe comes up in here, it's how Matt, I can never say the boys, Etienne? I think it's Etienne. Matt teaches Etienne how to read using Robinson Crusoe, and kind of that bond, how it comes together. But as you can see, we still need to finish the book, and I need to do that within the next 24 to 48 hours because it's due back at the library, or I have to renew it. So I'm not sure what it'll be because these chapters are short and the page and the font is a little bit big. But anyway, the purpose of this video was just to kind of show what we did starting out reading as a family. You know, kind of just showing our read aloud list. And of course, I don't have everything here, but this is pretty much what we've done since just as free read alouds, you know, as a family. Some most of the time with my husband involved because this would be evening reads. And so this has nothing to do pertaining to school in that sense, in academics, I should say. But this is what I have done since a year ago. I pretty much started in July of last year, 2016, to just make myself try to be a read aloud mom. And I'm pretty happy with what I have accomplished. Is it a whole shelf? Absolutely not. Do I have a million books that I need to go through? Yeah. But this sparked imagination in my children that was outside of Minecraft. I am not a Minecraft mom. But it sparks their imagination. Their vocabulary is getting really, really good. I wish I could think of scenarios, but I can't off the top of my head. But beyond that, I am connecting with my children. I am purposefully stopping my time as a mom, you know, with the cooking and the cleaning and the caring and the all this type of stuff. I am stopping and I am taking the time to read out loud to my children. Reading out loud doesn't come easy for me. It might sound like it does, but it doesn't. I stumble over words. I have a very hard time pronouncing some things, and quite often, it's one reason why I read with my husband, quite often my husband has to stop me and say, whoa, wait, you missed something. And what will happen is my eyes are ahead of my mouth, and so I'll be reading, but I get too far, and so my mouth catches up to my eyes and I've missed a section. But our read alouds have become a highlight as a family, and you know, throw in what you want with all of the statistics and the research and all of that as to why you should read out loud. I'm reading out loud because I find that it is best for my family. We are a family of readers, but sometimes reading on your own doesn't give you the full story, so to speak. It just is part of it. Reading out loud as a family brings the family in a different perspective because everybody takes away something different from a story. And that's something that Charlotte Mason talked about as well, is that, you know, with narration, everybody's going to take away a different piece of that story. And I don't require narration with these books. I just will be like, oh, wait a minute, Stephen, didn't you do something similar? Or, Emma, I can see you doing that. That's actually a neat idea. Or we'll read and then they're going to go off on their own little adventure and they reenact a lot of the story. That is learning. And anyway, I could go off on forever, but I'm looking at the time. I'm going to need to go check on my children, and I just kind of wanted to share this with you. If you are a parent struggling with knowing where to even begin, I know everybody says just begin, but I am going to try to come up with some tips that I gave you. First of all, you saw how it was very stressful for me to begin with. Don't give up. It's not going to be an easy breeze the first time, and if it is, wow, that's great. But I think more often than not, it's not going to be an easy breeze, especially if you've never done it before. It's a new concept. Number 2, find books that you think are going to be engaging to your children. Keep it short and sweet, short and snappy. If it's going to be a story like this, where it might take a little bit of time to get into, this may not be the best book to start out with. I know a lot of people start out with Little House in the Big Woods, Charlotte's Web, classic type of things, and I can't think of anything else. And there's a reason why a lot of people start out with those, and if it's worked for several people, it might be worth pursuing. But I think also you should think about the kind of things that got you excited as a child. Was there a book that made you excited? And ask your librarian. You know, go and say, hey, look, I've never read before. Do you have a suggestion? They might have something that I've never heard of, and you guys will love it. A third suggestion I have, be consistent. You know, even it kind of goes along with don't give up, but picking it up every so often it's not consistent, and so I think that makes it harder. When I have been more consistent, things have been more easy. I kind of fell off the bandwagon when we moved, and then picking it back up, it was really hard to get into that routine. The children, you know, it is. Once you get out of that routine, it's hard to get back into it, and it affects the whole family. So a good routine, you know, is great. I did at the dinner table, because with Charlotte's Web, I did it kind of in the afternoon when kids were more antsy, and at the dinner table, they are already sitting down. They are already sitting down and eating, and it was a great time to just open that door. So finding the opportunities and being consistent would be my third tip. Alright, I hope this video was helpful for somebody out there. If that was you, give it a thumbs up, because I look at those things and try to figure out what content is helpful for you, and kind of base my videos off of that. Sometimes I spur of the moment, because that's who I am. Thank you so much for watching. I am always happy to see the comments down below, so if you have any suggestions maybe for other people, definitely leave them down below, or if you have any thoughts on this, leave them down below, because I would like to know. And until next time,